So let's just round out my stream with this stuff. The Simpsons fandom from Polygon. The Simpsons fandom is thriving, just not where you'd expect to find it. Webcomic artists are posting their own takes on the classic show. Simpsons is a pretty big part of, me and my friends' vernacular. We quote Simpsons quotes all the time. My roommates here do it all the time. Me and Justin do it here all the time. It's just the part. It's just the way it is, and the conversations around the Simpsons all inevitably go the same way. It starts off with some quote from some classic Simpsons, and then we start tossing other quotes from other classic Simpsons around. We start talking about the heyday of the Simpsons, and then it inevitably leads to, why is this show still on? They need to end it. It's way past its course. It's just lame now, etc., etc. And that's been the way that Simpsons conversations have gone for at least the past 10 years, maybe more than that. And it all depends on who you ask. Like your Gen Xers, they're going to say that The Simpsons peaked somewhere around season 7 or 8. Somewhere around there. Some will be as hoity-toity as saying season 6, but come on. It was good at least until season 7 or 8. Your millennials, even your older millennials, older millennials kind of are in the same area as like the Gen Xers, but the millennials will generally say that The Simpsons kind of peaked at around seasons 9 or 10, maybe even 11, as late as 11. And then some of your older Zoomers and the ones that are cool, they will say that seasons 11 or 12 probably is where The Simpsons peaked. Generally, big time fans of like old school Simpsons don't delve into the teens, all that frequently, and certainly nothing past that point. And those conversations just go that way all the time. So I'm actually kind of intrigued by this story, and I did want to figure out what the fuck is going on here. And if it means that, there's a subset of Simpson fans that are injecting new comedy and new life into a zombie of an IP, a zombie of a property, then I'm for it, man. Let's do it. The Simpsons is dead. Long live The Simpsons. The classic cartoon sitcom has had an incredible impact on pop culture and animation since it began airing in 1989. This was especially true during its golden age, which is disputed but broadly covers seasons 3 through 8. See? I didn't read this before. I know the tab was open, but I honestly did not read that before. I just saw the art and I was like, okay, I'm going to wait until... But I know, just by having conversations with my friends and roommates, I know how this shit goes. Seasons 3 through 8. But that's just for the Gen Xers and for like older millennials. Like, generally, it's between seasons 2 and 10. And then, like, you start getting into, like, the nefarious territories with, like, seasons 11 and 12. The show's classic run has lived on in the meme zeitgeist, like with the infamous steamed ham skit. Sugar posting. What is sugar posting? I'm not a fan. The original bit was funnier, where it had Lenny sitting in there naked. Please don't tell anyone how I live. Or screenshots used in Twitter jokes. Simpsons, I like how I just jumped into the end of that sentence. Simpsons quotes are practically a dialect of their own. But while classic Simpsons has come and gone, fans these days are enthusiastically returning to the show's older episodes and the new canon to find inspiration for their own Simpsons stories. The animated comedy just had its season 33. Oh my god, dude. It's beyond life support at this point. Just fucking end it. The one thing that the show refuses to compromise on is aging up any of its characters, and so the timeline keeps sliding forward. In season 33, Homer and Marge are millennials. Oh, but what if The Simpsons actually aged? Each Simpson has been through so many iterations and timelines that they can be imagined anywhere or any when. Webcomic fan artists are exploring these questions and more while paying homage to The Simpsons classic years. The Simpsons actually had its own comic published from 1993 to 2012, which were based on the sitcom. Fan comics, however, give artists the creative license to imagine their favorite characters in situations that the official media can't or won't depict. Volkushka is the artist who created the Couples Therapy, a comic where Bart Simpson and Family Guy's Chris Griffin are working together to maintain a romantic relationship despite the abuse inflicted upon their fathers. I mean, if that ain't some real shit. If Bart Simpson and Chris Griffin went to couples therapy, my dad was an abusive alcoholic or whatever. He'd go to the bar, come home drunk, and find out I'd fucked up at school, and he'd choke me out. Yeah. Yeah, he never hit mom or my sister. He tried to be a good dad. We had some great times, man. He only got physical with me. I guess I was always thinking one day he'd hurt mom or L or M. If I pissed him off, he'd only hurt me, and that was okay. My family was a lot like Bart's, but different. My parents beat the shit out of my sister. My dad would make a joke about how worthless she was and push her down the stairs and just laugh. And I did it too. I didn't even know it was bad. It's bleak, but he's only describing the show. It's just what my family did. When I did realize it was wrong, I got scared. If I didn't hurt Meg too, I'm putting the name Zen because I'm sure they don't want to fucking get copyright popped. Maybe they'd start hurting me. Meg left home at 18. I never heard from her. I wish I could say I'm sorry. Is that Bobby? It would make sense that Bobby would be a therapist, actually. Like, of all the cartoon sons, he came from the most adjusted fucking upbringing. That boy ain't right. There are some real heavy family issues, and y'all say this is affecting your relationship? Yeah, I think it's coming up a lot when we argue. Man, I don't know what you're talking about. When we argue, you fucking shut down. I shut down. If I shut down, it's because you insult me. Insult you. You're too sensitive. Gentlemen, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to ask you to try speaking to each other in I statements. I statements are a good way to express your feelings without your partner feeling blamed. Bart, try phrasing things like, when I don't hear you speak during an argument, I feel... Go on, give it a try. I feel that when we argue... Am I doing it right? I keep going. I shut down when we argue because mean jokes make me think of my dad, and I get scared you're going to hit me. I know you would never, but I just get scared, so I go quiet. Sherry, that must have been very difficult. It put you in a very vulnerable place. You did a great job. Thank you, Chris. Bart, is there anything you'd like to say in response to Chris? I don't know, I guess I insult you when we argue because you're too fucking good for me, man. You're so nice and I'm such a fuck up. You're gonna wise up one day and leave me. The sooner you leave me, the sooner I can figure out my life without you. Yeah, I mean, really, you know what, you're a real great dad. Yeah, exactly. Like, really, this is just highlighting, you know, how good a dad Hank Hill was in comparison to fucking Homer and Peter Griffin. Good Lord. I mean, that's a good writing. It's good writing. It's a good depiction of, like, the problem with those cartoons. Spring Fight is another fan comic that takes a critical look at the legacy of Homer Simpson, but combines it with a love letter to the show's classic run. The comic starts with a very Simpsons premise. Mr. Burns is leaving his will to whoever can best the rest of Springfield, a massive tournament. Homer takes the lead early on, but his family life has crumbled as a result, and the Simpsons have to navigate the scenario together. Spring Fight. How long does this thing go on? Oh. Here at the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant, we're entering our second week at the C. Montgomery Burns Memorial Martial Arts Tournament. I'm your celebrity host, Kent Brockman. For all of those just tuning in, this all started when a stray gust of wind tragically took the life of our town's beloved geriatric tyrant, Monty Burns. To decide who would inherit his massive fortune, he devised a post-mortem fighting tournament open to the public. As you could imagine, the whole town showed up to compete. including me. In fact, I'm up next. Krusty, take over. Yeah, I'm coming. I'm still recovering from my fight with Bumblebee Man. Oh God, this is what? Oh man. Hey, Mole Man has his knife. That's funny. I'm gonna have to read this at some other point. It looks like there's a lot. Or is this just okay, this is all there is to it. Yeah, I'm gonna read that later. You seem pleased with yourself. Ah, I mean, Marge, long time no see. Did you watch my fight? No, I haven't watched any of them. I want nothing to do with this barbarous tournament. Hey, don't use Lisa words against me. Lisa hardly talks at all anymore. Meanwhile, Bart leaves the house any chance he gets. He's doing all he can to seem unaffected. How's the other one, Maggie? I know. I decided to leave her with my sister until the tournament's over. I don't want to hear anywhere near all this. As a child in the 90s, I have never known a world without the Simpsons, says Joe Chon, creator of Spring Fight. Joe Chouinard, the creator of Spring Fight. I took the show for granted growing up, partly because it was so pervasive, and partly because I didn't understand half the jokes. But I don't think any piece of media has had a bigger impact on me. Those early seasons are burned into my brain, and have undoubtedly influenced the way I think about humor and storytelling. Also, I quote the show on a daily basis. I imagine in 20 years, I'll still be proclaiming whether or not everything is in fact coming up Millhouse. Of all the quotes, Chouinard's inspirations were far-reaching. After a rewatch of Yu Yu Hakusho, Chouinard wondered why emotionally charged martial arts tournaments weren't a larger part of Western cartoon canon. That's funny. From there, Spring Fight blossomed from an idea to a full comic. Like just the status quo, it gave the characters permission to grow, change, and move on with their lives, said Chouinard. It felt like they deserved it after 3 decades, and it was nice to have some closure, even if I had to make it myself. That's the problem with The Simpsons, man. That's the biggest problem with keeping that zombie show running after 30 some odd years, is like, there needs to be closure, dude. There needs to be some kind of growth and some kind of closure. Like, the younger generation doesn't connect with The Simpsons the way that the older generation did. So, like, and maybe they will. Maybe, maybe it's like the conversation that Justin and I had about the prequels and the sequel trilogy for Star Wars. Maybe in about 10 years' time, people who were fucking 5 years old 5 years ago will start talking about, like, seasons 20 through 30 of The Simpsons being its golden era. I doubt it, but maybe. I don't know. But I feel like at any point, like, the show needs some kind of... Even Star Wars has closure. Like, there needs to be closure on it. Otherwise, it's just weird that it still exists. It's like the guest that doesn't leave your party hours after it was over. Other artists are still fully in love with The Simpsons in its current form and remain active in the fandom. Spiker Monster is an online artist who has been a fan of The Simpsons throughout his life, but he rediscovered the show during an oppressive episode. I decided to rewatch the episode, love Springfieldian style, after watching Sex Pistols' mockumentary, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle. He tells Polygon via Twitter, I discovered that I'm still pretty fond of it, actually. That led to me finding more Simpsons episodes to watch. Before I knew it, I was neck deep into the show, drawing fan art and thinking of ideas for stories and character explorations. My depression had entirely vanished. I feel like it saved my life. That art led to a project called Those Springfield Kids, which is a character study of Bart, Lisa, and their friends during their late high school years. Spike Monster explains that they were curious to see how each cast would develop if the clock suddenly started on their lives. I was partially inspired by some other Simpsons fan projects like Bart Kira, is that like Akira? And Marge Simpson Anime. Oh no, I'm afraid to see what that one looks like, says Spiker Monster. To think that there's some people out there who are seeing my work and they might be feeling the same way I felt upon seeing Bart Kira for the first time, it is truly so exciting. He adds, I hope people don't stop making these sorts of fan projects. It's always so fun to see how creative people can get their reinterpretations of such an iconic show. Okay, so this is oh man, how many? Isn't time weird, Millhouse? I guess I'm trying to think about it too much. I mean, when we started the fourth grade, I never thought it'd last forever. Now it's almost over. In September, we'll be officially fifth graders. Wow, just like the cool older kids. Now we're gonna be the cool older kids. I'm not sure how I feel about all it. It's a lot of pressure. What are you dorks even looking at? Nothing in particular. I don't really get it myself. We're reminiscing about bygone days of our youth. Yo, what the hell was that for, man? Clinging to the past. What? Aren't you gonna miss fourth grade? No, I'm sick of school. I'm planning to quit before I get to sixth grade. Ain't that the American dream? Oh, I wish I had my life all figured out too. Are you guys all cloud gazing? That's uncharacteristically tame of you. I can tell if you're up to something. It's called growing up, Lise. We're maturing now, not like you would know. There's nothing inherently mature about cloud gazing. You're just looking at clouds. Whatever. If it's boring, it's nothing. If it's boring, it's growing up thing. You got me there, mister. Let's use laugh when I'm old enough to do taxes and stuff. Then you'll be laughing because you're doing taxes. So I guess this is just it would be cool to see this actually done as a it would be cool to see this actually done as like an animation, especially of this style. I like this guy's art. It's pretty cool stuff. I do want to read this. I'll read it at some other point. Bart Kira. You know, my buddy Doug, he helped me build this computer, helped me put it together. He was telling me the other day he went to see Akira at, I think, Alamo. They were showing it. I'd never seen Akira on the big screen, but I mean, even just watching on TV, the animation is so unbelievably beautiful that I can't imagine how much cooler it is to watch. I can't imagine how much cooler it would be to watch it on like a big screen. Are they using the original audio? This is pretty well done. Honestly, that just makes me want to watch Akira. That was really well done. That was cool. Some pretty interesting Marge art. Alright, well, I'm going to keep these open because I want to look at these later.